Okay, happy late morning. Happy Thursday. I've had my little crash out. I'm a Leo rising, Leo moon. My emotions have been loud. I'm starting to feel better. I'm starting to feel my lunar return as I should, not loony. That's what I felt like in the beginning. Loony. Let's talk about Mercury moving into Libra in another way. We're going to be honest, as always, but a little bit more positive. I was so focused on that Mercury opposite Neptune. Because, like you guys know, sometimes astrology still gets me. Like, sometimes with how literal it is, can still get, like, bewildered or like, oh my gosh. Mercury opposite Neptune is when, like, everyone declares, like, fascism is here and free speech is dead. But I did not talk about the rest of the sky that he's walking into. Mercury moving into Libra makes this grand trine energy of air. Pluto retrograde in Aquarius, the 1 degree. Uranus, retrograde Gemini, the 1 degree. Mercury stepping into that 1 degree Libra, and I mean until like 5 degrees, 6, 7. Depends on your personal. There's going to be a grand trine of air. Now, what does air represent? Air represents the mind, communication, intellect, ideas. You have a grand trine. It's not a little breeze. Remember, trines are like continuous flow of motion. The energy is flowing and going. Mostly very positive. It's a continuous current, feedback loop of intellectual power and exchange. And remember, we've talked about Uranus and Pluto when they make a trine. That is the change maker. That is the guy that's like, oh my gosh, hold on, wait a minute. Pluto, transformation, transmutation. Uranus, the great awakener, the rebel. When they have a trine, when they are continuously flowing and going, that's when we experience the biggest changes in our history. We are going to experience it more than any other lifetime. So Uranus, Pluto, the disruptors, the change makers, they are reviewing. Uranus is reviewing before it makes a return to where it is on the U.S. Sibley chart. Pluto's not retrograding all the way back to America's Pluto return. In Libra, we've already dealt with a lot of those lessons when the South Node was in Libra and the North Node was in Aries not that long ago. This is why you have to look at the whole chart. When you just look at that, you're like, oh my goodness. America is going to review. America is going to remember. America's going to figure out. We're going to be just. We're going to come back to balance. We're going to go back to who we are. Which I'm not saying that energy is not there. It is there. It is. This is why we look at the whole chart, because also the rub that I've already talked about this morning, Mercury is not just in the smooth, beautiful flow of Libra. Saturn and Neptune are pulling on him. Neptune, 0 degrees Aries, the fog, the delusion, the dream. Saturn retrograding in Pisces, the weight of rules dissolving, authority slipping underwater. Together, Neptune and Saturn, they create their own special current that can confuse, that can overwhelm, that demands a sacrifice, an accountability of sorts, an action of sorts. Saturn and Neptune kind of in opposite places, being like, you can't just dream the dream. You have to work, but first you have to dream the dream. So Mercury's kind of caught. I want you to think of him as like on a tightrope. Remember those people that walked across the tightrope? On one side, he is flowing pretty harmoniously with Aquarius and Gemini. Even if he's like finding out some truths and, some light bulbs go off, he's liking it. Rewiring how we think, unlocking radical truths, shaking the system. But at the same time, he's opposed and he's pressured within a tug of war, and he's bent by Neptune's illusions and Saturn's restrictions. And the thing is all those planets that he's in a dance with, they are all retrograde. He is not. And he rules the eclipse that's coming this weekend. He's got a lot of shit to read through and figure out. But the big question is, where does this leave us? Where does this leave logic? Where does this leave us? Where do we leave the way we think? It must be a day because I talked until my light blew out. Okay, where does it leave us? It leaves us in a tight cosmos, right? Trying to balance Mercury, trying to balance both sides. Everything he's learning, everything he's experienced, and how to apply them all. So what are we invited to do, okay? Let Mercury do what he does best. Hold balance. hold truth, to weigh both sides, negotiate truth out of chaos, out of the noise, to listen deeply and empathetically, but not get lost in the fog. This is not an easy transit in any way, but it is severely profound because our thinking, our very way of logic, communication is being rewritten, and it's being rewritten under pressure. And what comes out the other side will not just change how we talk, but how we live. Backbone and Bloom, my glories, speak with precision, breathe with awareness, because this air trine is carrying us to a new era of thought, whether we are ready or not. So get them biddies ready.